Okay, it's a good morning, good afternoon, good evening in some parts of the world. Yes, I know in Dubai it's a good afternoon, but maybe somebody is watching right now in, let's say, Canada or somewhere or Japan. Wherever you're watching from, this is our coffee class session. Hope you enjoyed. Today, our camera is in landscape mode, it's not in portrait because I want to get a full picture so that everybody can understand what's really taking place here. So if you happen to come on our live, please just be disciplined, tap your screen and share the live. Yes, when you join in, just make your phone like in a landscape mode. This is portrait, this is landscape. So you just twist it like this and then you'll be seeing the class in a full overview. Thank you so much for watching. I see already 35 people watching right now. Please tap your screen and enjoy the live. Okay, what's your good name? Pretty. Okay, what's your good name, sir? Able. Miss, what's your good name? When I'm in class, please, your phones have to be away. The only point of sight is the blackboard, is the whiteboard, or me myself. Go have a seat there, please. What's your good name? Doreen. You, miss? Lydia. You? Olivia. Yeah. Okay. You? Nimrod. Okay. Guys, in the comment section, please, if you hear that my voice is not coming through, there are 82 people watching already. Okay. Please tap your screen and share the live. If you hear that my voice is not coming through at any point, just write it down in the comment section. I'll be reading your comment here and then I'll be changing to another microphone. This class will be taking approximately 2.5 hours. Please, 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 please be at your best manners. Yeah. Thank you so much. But tap your screen, please. Coach Batantu, how you doing? Good morning, good afternoon. Okay. So today is our first coffee session. Is our first coffee? Thank you. So during our training, we go for three things. One, we go for theory. Okay. We go for brewing. And then we go for extraction. Okay. So here we get the skill. Here we get the knowledge. Okay. But what you need to know, guys, knowledge is better than skill. They are both important, but knowledge is more important than skill. Skill is something you can always improve with time. If I'm practicing how to twist this marker for 5 times, if I do it repeatedly, I'll become a professional. Even if I close my eyes, I'll be doing the same thing. But knowledge, if you don't know something, you don't know it completely. So this is why your book has to be your best friend. The difference between a good barista and a normal barista is just knowledge. Because I think we believe everybody can make a cup of coffee. For every cafe you go, everyone can make a cup of coffee, but not everybody can give you a good cup of coffee. To give you a good cup of coffee, you need a wide knowledge. You understand? Because you must know the technicalities, you must know the why not, why this one, what can I change, what can I improve, why is this one bringing like this. You have to have the technical know-how of how to make a good cup of coffee. But everybody can serve coffee. Just like many cafes here in Dubai, everyone can serve coffee, but not everybody can serve a good cup of coffee. You understand? The difference, see, it reflects also in our salary structure. In coffee, there is somebody who's called a junior barista, there is a senior, and there is a head barista. You understand? A junior is somebody who has basic knowledge about coffee. Like you right now. You know, that's a coffee machine. You know, that's a grinder. That's espresso. That's cappuccino. You know how to tell. A senior is somebody who has been active in service for some time. You worked in this cafe, you got some little experience. You worked in another cafe, you got another experience. So you become a senior on what you're doing. Then a head surpasses all. Head is somebody with far better knowledge than all this. The head is the one we run to when the coffee is not okay. We ask, now what can we do? What can we adjust? You understand? That's who we call a head barista. That's why, since he has more knowledge, he gets 8,000. The senior gets 3,500, and the junior gets 2,500. But they can, if you ask for a cappuccino, everyone in the bar can make. But the difference is who can answer the tough questions is the head. It means knowledge is the difference between 2,500 and 8,000. Because everybody can make the coffee. But the difference is the knowledge. You understand? So if you keep yourself on the bright side of coffee, you do your research, you ask the right questions, you keep in your books, you know what you're doing, always you'll be at this level in no time. I have my students who have been in my class for the past 2 years. They are now head baristas. They are heading some cafes. You understand? Knowledge is the difference. Please read your book. The only reason as to why I record these lives now is because I want my students to go back and do research and revise and take a recap of what happened in class so that you can know, oh, the teacher said this and this and that. Maybe here you're dozing, maybe you're thinking about something, but in your normal time, when you're free, you can always go back to this live, put it somewhere, and just see, listen, and understand. You understand? There are so many ways of learning. One, you can learn by somebody just speaking or writing down. Like I'm talking here now. Somebody can learn everything by just looking at me doing my thing. You can learn. Two, there are some people who learn when they get themselves time, sit back and revise or do a recap of what happened and they learn. There are some people who want their friends. Let's say this is your colleague in class. If your colleague tells you something, you can understand than the teacher telling you. You understand? So there are so many. That's why in my class, there are sometimes you find me seated there and I let my students help each other. Because why? Sometimes maybe the student is under pressure because of me. That's why he's not doing the thing. Now I give the student a chance to practice with another student because he or she will be confident around this person. You understand? So there are so many technicalities in teaching, but what we have to do is just be on the bright side of knowledge. Good afternoon, teacher. Good afternoon. I see everybody. Guys, please tap your screen when you come live. Tap your screen. Don't be lazy, yeah? Please, don't be lazy. So, stretching our legs now. We'll start with the history of coffee. We'll start with the history of coffee. So where did coffee come from? Coffee came from Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the birth of coffee. Are we together? Back in the early days, back in the Ethiopian plateaus, there lived a guy. His name was called Khalid. He used to rear goats. One day, as he was grazing his goats in the wilderness, he got to find out that there is a certain energy, a certain change in the behavior of his goats after eating on a certain seed. You understand? He was curious. He took these seeds back to the home, to the village where he was staying. You understand? So he gave them to the elders. These are the monks. They used to call them monks back in the early Ethiopian time. They used to call them monks. Monks, these are people who are always in prayers. They are always in temples. You know monks? Yeah. So he took these seeds, gave them to them and said, guys, my goats were dancing the whole night. I don't know why. My goats were energetic the whole night. I don't know why. Can you please try to tell me what is in these seeds that makes these changes in my goats. You understand? So what the elders did, they took these seeds. Some seeds were crushed, put some water and drank. Some seeds were burnt in fire, and some seeds were done so many experiments. Then after finding out that these seeds were, were very good for their bodies, they could cure some health diseases. They are also sweet for taking if you want to take something, and they could help them like trigger their sleeping so that they cannot sleep in the night. Because remember, when you take too much coffee, you cannot sleep. Why? Because of the caffeine content. You understand? Since monks are always in prayer, this was a very, very, very good discovery, because they always looked for some substance they can take and they can stay awake so that they don't doze off during the night of prayer. So when they got to find about these magical seeds, they started to take them on a daily, because they know whenever they want to go for prayers, they take this cup of coffee. You understand? So that you can stay awake the whole night. Please don't write when I'm talking. Just pay attention on me. Yeah? I'll tell you when to write, because all this information is in your books. Okay? So when these monks found out that this coffee was really useful to them, what they did, they started to plant these very seeds on their villages and on the neighboring villages. You understand? Now they were growing coffee on a large scale, because it was so important in their health and in their day-to-day lives. Now here comes the era of civilization. Arabs used to travel from one part of the country, from one part of the world to another. When the Arabs came to Africa, they came to Ethiopia, they came to this land, and they told them about these beautiful seeds and their magic. What they did, they took these seeds back to their homeland in terms of trade. You understand? So they traded the beans. I don't know what they gave them. You know, back in the days, Africans were really dense, I would say, because somebody would bring a mirror. They give you a mirror, you give them a land. They give you a ring, you give them a cow. I don't know how this trade really worked, but back in the days, this is how Africans were. We were dense, we were very naive, we were very backward, I would suggest. But, no offense on any Africa watching right now. That there was equality in it. There was nothing like equality to give me a mirror and I give you 10 men. There's no equality. Do you know they could give a king a mirror and you give back like 10 warriors? Excitement. That's the correct word. It was just excitement and being naive. They could give you one gun, you give them like 50 kilos of cotton. The cotton which took you 3 years to harvest. This is nothing like trade. These people were smarter than us. You understand? Yeah. Okay, anyway, I won't go back to history, but that's what it reads. So, during this trade, they took these coffee beans back to the Arabian land. You understand? So when the beans or when the seeds reached the Arabian land, this is when the seeds now were termed to be Arabica. You understand? But remember, the birth of Arabica is from Ethiopia. Now we have this origin of beans. But over time, there came out so many other origin of coffee beans from different parts of the world. And now we have what we call the 4 main coffee varieties. These are like the grandmothers. These are like the grandfathers of all coffees. Now we have Arabica coffee here, and we have robusta coffee, and we have Excelsior coffee, and we have Arabica coffee. Now the birth of these 4, these are the grandmothers, I would say, of all coffees that we have right now. And these are what we call coffee varieties. These are the first 4 main coffee varieties to be discovered. You understand? These 4 are the first 4 main coffee varieties to be discovered. But over time, we have so many coffee varieties as we speak right now. You understand? How did these varieties come? They come during, like, for a period of time. They've been joining different coffee varieties to get others. What does the word variety mean? The word variety means diversity. Something in diverse, something in different ways. You understand? So the word coffee variety means this is where we join different coffee subspecies to get one coffee plant. We join different coffee subspecies to get one coffee plant. Let's say, for example, this is plant A, okay? And this is plant B, yeah? And then if this is plant A from, let's say, from India, right? This is a coffee bean, a coffee plant from India, and this is the coffee plant, let's say, from Uganda. You understand? So if this coffee plant has some good juice, something like that, blah, 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 and this one has its also other qualities. What I have to do, I want to join these two to get one similar tree with both this one and this one genes. This is what they call grafting in agriculture. Grafting is where we join different plants. So what I do, I cut this one and I cut this one and I join them together. When this tree grows, it has both Uganda and Indian genes genetically. You understand? Now I'll give you a simple understanding. Let's say I have this mango from Pakistan and I have another mango from, let's say, Rwanda. I want to grow a mango sweet, but it's sweet like the Pakistani and the Rwandese mango. I join the tree by planting. It will give me the same juice from Pakistan and Rwanda. You understand? This is how we birth so many coffee varieties that we have right now. You understand? This is how we birth so many coffee varieties that we have right now. Now, as I speak, we have so many. We have Bobo, Neo Bobo, Catulao, Santa Lucia, Arabica itself. So many. So many. But they all came from these 4 discovered coffee varieties. Does everybody understand what the word variety means? Yeah? Yeah? Does everybody understand what the word variety means? Yeah? Okay. Guys, in the comment section, please, if you hear that my sound is not coming through, please, you just notify me in the comment section, then I change another microphone, okay? Okay. So now I want to tell you about something away from this one. This is something called blend. Okay? Blend. Now we've just talked about variety. So blend and variety, they are almost the same, but they are different. Okay? I said this one, we join different coffee plants or trees. You understand? But blend, we join different coffee beans. You understand? You understand? Now let's say, for example, I have these coffee beans from Colombia and I have these coffee beans from Brazil. If I join them together in one pack, I mix them together, this is what we call a coffee blend. You understand? But if I have a tree from Colombia and a tree from Brazil, if I join them together during planting, this is what we call You understand? I come up with a different variety. Here I come up with a special blend. To blend means we mix different coffee beans from different origins. You understand? We mix different coffee origins. What does the word origin mean? Origin means from the original plantation where the coffee came from. If I say origin, they can all be coming from the same country, but in different regions. You understand? I can have Ugandan coffee beans, but I can have Uganda Rwenzori, I have Uganda Ergon, and I have Uganda Chigezi, or Uganda Chisolo, or Uganda Kasese. You understand? I can have Indian coffee beans, I have India Delhi. I have India Mumbai. I have India huh? Kuni? Pune. I don't know this one. Oh Jesus, there's another pattern. Oh Jesus. No, not Kochi. There's this place where there comes different. These are tall ladies with brown hair. Kerala. It's in Kochi. Means we join different coffee plants, but different blends means we join different coffee beans. You understand? Let's say these are beans. These are coffee beans, and I get other coffee beans as well. You understand? So these are coffee beans and these are coffee beans. If I join together now, I have a blend. You understand? Yeah. Okay. Good. Now we proceed. You know, these coffee terminologies, they are very simple, but everybody can use it to tease you somewhere, somehow. Let's say, if, for example, if a customer walks in a coffee shop, you will ask, do you have a coffee blend? Is your coffee blend or single origin? What does it mean? It means, is the coffee you're serving right now, is it blended or is it from a single origin? You understand? Yeah. Because when the customer walks in a coffee shop, he will just see coffee in a grinder. He will not know where the coffee is coming from. So you, the barista, you're the one who put the coffee inside. So you know whether you mix the Brazil with Ethiopia or you just put Brazil as itself. Yeah. You understand? So if the customer asks you, is this coffee single origin or blend? He needs to understand, did you mix the coffee beans or they are from a single origin? You understand, guys? Yeah. Please pay attention. You know, when students go there, they ask them questions. They have no answers. They say, no, the teacher didn't tell me that. They always take the blame back to the school or to the teacher. This is why I always teach online, and people always witness what I'm doing. So if you happen to go anywhere and you say that you were not taught anything, people will just laugh at you. The moment you mention my name, they will know you know everything. Okay, we continue. So now we'll talk about these coffee varieties. One is called Arabica and one is called robusta. We'll talk about these two coffee varieties because these are the two most popular coffee varieties in the whole world. These are the two most popular coffee varieties. Hope everybody is at ease right now, yeah? You can hear me very well? My voice is okay? Okay, so this is Arabica coffee and this is robusta coffee. What is the key difference between these two coffee beans? The number one key difference between these two coffee beans comes from the taste. The taste is Arabica coffee is sweet and smooth, whereas Robusta coffee is bitter and hashy. So if somebody asks, okay, so the second key difference between these two coffee beans comes from the altitude of which this coffee is planted. Arabica coffee is grown on a high altitude. Robusta is grown in a low altitude. What does the word altitude mean? Altitude means the height above sea level. Yeah, the height above sea level is what we call altitude. So this is the sea, like the ground where we walk from. Yeah, the more the ground stretches up, this is what we call altitude. You understand? Yeah, you don't seem to understand. I don't know why. You oruzungu orulia bulungi. Yeah. Look at me like you understand what I'm saying, please. Please. If you don't understand the language, you can tell me I can change. I mix. See, what does the word altitude mean? Altitude means the height above sea. The sea is the level, ground level. The more the land stretches up, this is what we call altitude. You understand? And remember, this is common theory. The higher you go, the cooler it becomes. It means the temperature somebody experiences when you're up and not the same temperatures down. You understand? So Arabica coffee grows on an altitude of 800 meters above sea level, going up. We cannot grow Arabica coffee going down. Yeah, we grow this coffee up. We cannot grow it down. This is why in some books Arabica coffee is referred to as mountain coffee, because it's mostly grown in mountains. When you go to Uganda, they grow it in those parts of Rwenzori, Erigon, Kasese, because they have high hills and grounds. You understand? So Arabica coffee grows on a high altitude, whereas robusta you can grow it anywhere down. Are we together? For every Arabica coffee you will see, always the altitude must be from 800 going up. You cannot find it going down. Are we together, guys? So there are so many other differences between these coffee beans, Arabica and Robusta. The difference in sugar content, the acidity content, the production content, the shape and everything. But what you need to know, these are the key differences between these two coffee beans. It comes from the taste and the altitude where this coffee is grown. This is where the difference comes from. Are we together, guys? Guys, if you're watching live and you understand what I'm saying, please tap your screen and just give me a thumbs up so that I can continue. Give me a thumbs up so that we can continue, so that I know that everybody is paying attention and we're on the same page. You are 100 and so people watching. Please, thank you for keeping it disciplined in the comment section. Thank you. So, proceeding, we look at coffee on a production level. But coffee on a production level, we see it in two terms. One, there is what we call specialty coffee. Yeah, specialty coffee. And there is what we call commercial coffee. For every barista, you must know what specialty coffee means and what commercial coffee means. This is the basics of understanding coffee. So from today, if I explain, you will know in your cafe is a specialty coffee shop or a commercial coffee shop. To understand what this term really means, I'll first tell you who a barista is. Because so many people are confused of who a barista is. Who is a barista? Barista is not Barista Timo. Number one. Who is a barista? A barista is a coffee professional who can serve and prepare coffee-based beverages. I repeat myself. A coffee barista is a professional who can serve and prepare coffee-based beverages. Meaning, the only sole purpose of the barista is to play around coffee and get out the best drink possible. Yeah? Any drink somebody makes away from coffee is just a plus to knowledge. Meaning, if you know how to make mojito, you know how to make juice, you know how to make milkshake, you know how to make fraps, you know how to make smoothies, this doesn't make you out to be a barista. This is away from coffee. This is just a plus on your knowledge. You understand, guys? A barista is a coffee professional who can serve and prepare coffee-based beverages. The rest is a plus. This is common knowledge. You know these small Pakistani shops on the road? They all sell this. They are not baristas. You can ask for their menu. They have smoothies, they have juice, they have mojitos, they have everything. That doesn't mean those are baristas. No. A barista is a coffee professional who can serve and prepare coffee-based beverages. Are we together? Are we together, guys? So, we come back to this. Specialty coffee and commercial coffee. What does the word specialty coffee means? Specialty coffee. This is the term used for the highest grade of coffee beans available. Typically, it relates to the entire chain of supply. I repeat myself, guys. Pay attention. Specialty coffee is a term used for the highest grade of coffee beans available. But typically, it relates to the entire chain of supply. What is the grade of coffee are we talking about? It means for us to know that we are dealing in specialty coffee, we must be dealing with very, very quality coffee. The best beans possible. The best grade of coffee beans possible. But for us to understand what really specialty coffee as a concept means, we need to go back to the journey of coffee from the garden to the final cup that we serve the customer. On every step, on every stage, we must observe quality. Hey, I don't think you understand, guys. Yes. I don't think you're 131 people watching, guys. Please tap your screen, keep it displayed in the comment section. Give me a thumbs up if you understood what specialty coffee means. Or I repeat one more time. Listen. Specialty coffee, it means we use highest grade of coffee beans. It means we use high grade coffee. These are coffee beans, but they must be of the highest grade. Yeah, when we're talking about coffee beans of the highest grade, they must range from 80 points and above. You understand? You see these coffee beans, these are Colombian coffee beans. They score 85. It means they are 80 and above. How does the score comes about? After harvesting your coffee, yeah, there are a group of professionals who can test this coffee, and everybody gives their independent verdict. Now we are how many people here seated? If somebody takes, you take, everybody takes a coffee, and then you say, I give it 20% acidity content, I give it 20% intensity, I give it 20% blah, 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 whatever detail it has. You understand? Then after, we get your percentage, his percentage, her percentage, his percentage, and then we get what we call the average score. You understand? So when the beans score 80 points to 85, we call these beans good coffee beans. When the beans score 85 to 90, we call these coffee beans very good coffee beans. When the beans score 90 to 100, this is what we call excellent. You understand? So what you need to know for the concept to be called specialty coffee, we must be using high grade coffee. We cannot use beans which are below 80. You understand? But the deep understanding of specialty coffee goes back from the journey of coffee from the plantation where the coffee was planted to the final. It doesn't stop from the good beans. It stretches back from where the coffee was coming from. This is the understanding. You understand? So if somebody asks what is specialty coffee, if you tell somebody specialty coffee, it represents the journey of coffee from the plantation to the final cup, you're good. But even if you tell the person specialty coffee means we use high grade coffee beans, is you also okay. There is one barista, she came here, was it 2 days ago? She came here and she told me, I have a student, I want you to teach my brother or something. So she was starting to ask me some questions. Like, you teach coffee? You teach specialty coffee? I told the lady, I cannot make an interview with you. I'm not here to be interviewed. You're here because you've brought your brother to study. I asked her, are you a barista? She said yes. I asked her, what is specialty coffee? She said, this is where we use medium and dark. This is where we use medium and dark roast coffee beans. This is what she answered. This is what she answered. So for her, she thinks she's correct. You understand? So she thinks she can ask me any question simply because she works in the coffee. You're very wrong. You're very, very wrong. You know, working in a coffee shop doesn't mean that you're a good barista. No. There are some people who get jobs by luck. There are some people who learn from work. There are some people who have just basic knowledge to operate. You understand? But it doesn't mean that whatever you're doing is good or it's okay. You understand? So if you don't know what real specialty coffee means, then what are you doing in a coffee shop? Now she's here, she wants to interview me. Like, seriously? Anyway. Oh, farmer, thank you so much. It's called coffee profiling. Okay, anyway, so we proceed. I told you how the coffee is graded. Yeah. Now I'll take you to the journey of coffee from the plantation to the final cup. But what does commercial coffee mean? Commercial coffee means they grow coffee for commercial purposes only. You understand? For commercial purposes. So it means they don't need to score so much and they don't need to be of high grade or high quality. As long as the coffee is good to serve, they just serve it. You understand? Oh, okay. So we proceed. I want to take you from to the journey of coffee from the garden to the final cup. Okay. Number one, we look at coffee as a plant. Yeah. Coffee as a plant. When we are planting this coffee, you remember when they're planting coffee, they plant the coffee trees in a nursery bed. You know a nursery bed? This is like a small garden where we put coffee in bags and small soil. When the trees germinate and they become small trees, then they transfer the trees to the garden where they're going to be planting them. You understand? So coffee as a plant, it means if you're talking about specialty coffee, we must plant the best quality plants. It means in this case, we must plant Arabica coffee plants. Are we together? So we go to stage number 2. Now we look at the farmer. What is the role of the farmer in this coffee chain? Number 1, the farmer must plant the coffee in the right season and you must harvest in the right season. Number 2, the farmer must make sure that you plant and harvest the coffee in the right season. Number 2, we must make sure that he takes care of this coffee from the time of planting to the time of harvesting. You must put fertilizers in your garden. You must spray pesticides in the garden so that the coffee is not eaten by pesticides. You understand? So you must know that you're planting the coffee on the right altitude. So the farmer has to overall take care of the coffee from the time of planting to the time of harvesting. Arabica coffee is not like this normal coffee you saw in Uganda where you plant and you go back 2 years to harvest. No, you must take care of this coffee. You don't just plant and live in the garden. No, you plant and you must take care of this coffee. Are we together, guys? Yeah. So this is the role of the farmer. Number 3, we look at the harvesting. When it comes to harvesting, coffee we use in specialty coffee. Number 1, we must harvest the coffee when the coffee is ready, all ripe. Are we together? Remember, when coffee is still raw, not ready, it's green. When it's ready, it's red, sometimes yellow. You understand? So we must make sure that the coffee is ready. We don't just get coffee when it's not ready. Number 2, we must hand pick this coffee when we're getting it out from the plantation or from the trees. Hand picking is where we go with your basket and you start to get only those cherries which are ready. You don't just strip the tree. Stripping is where we get a tree and you remove all the seeds. No, we just pick one. We pick out these coffee cherries which are ready. Are we together? So number 3, this is where we see the processing. What does the word processing mean, guys? Processing. Yeah. Thank you so much. Very, very, very good. Processing means you get a byproduct from a raw material, like sugar processing. We get sugar canes and then we get sugar. It means sugar is got from a certain process. This is what we call sugar processing. You understand? So coffee processing, it means we get coffee. When we get it from the garden, it has all the skins and everything. But when we process it, now we remain with only this. These are what we call the beans, but the beans are inside. So it means this coffee goes and undergoes through a process so that all the skins go off and we remain with these beans. So we have 3 most popular coffee beans, but I will not explain them more today, but you'll go and see them in your books. I explain them very well. Number 1, we have what we call the natural all dry process. Yeah, this is where we just put coffee in the sunlight and then we take them to the howling machine to remove the skins and then remain with this one. Okay, we have the washed all what we call the wet process. This is where coffee undergoes through fermentation and everything. The processes are well explained in your book. We have what we call the honey all semi-washed process. Are we together? This is where coffee undergoes through fermentation, but it's not washed, it's just put out in the sunlight. The processes are well explained in your books. If you can take time, you can go and see how I well elaborated them. Okay, so after this coffee is processed, before I go to the buyers where the coffee is taken, I want to appreciate the role of these people. They are called the greeners. These are coffee professionals who go down in the villages where this coffee is planted. They talk to the farmers, they educate the farmers, they try to see how these farmers can improve in their growing and in their production. You understand? These are some people, some are government officials, some are just personal people. They just go to the, let's say, to the plantations where the coffee is grown. They talk to the farmer. They can tell you, say, you've been planting coffee for now 5 years. Can you let the land rest for a while? Or when you're planting, please put these trees on the other side of the mountain. Or when you're planting, please don't let the trees be on this stage so that you can get the best fruits or the best outcome possible. These are called coffee greeners. We just appreciate them for their work and their service in our chain of supply. Now we look at the buyers. The buyers, we call them the buyers because they're like the middlemen who buy coffee from the farmers and then export them to where the coffee is sold. Are we together? They are called the buyers. What's their role? Number 1, they must buy only the high quality coffee beans. You see these small cooperative companies in back home, they buy coffee from the farmers, from deep down in the villages. They pack it, they keep it, and then they ship it to the different countries. You understand? So these are the middlemen who buy coffee direct from the farmers, clean it, pack it, wrap it, and then store it until they transfer it to the market where it will be sold. They are called the coffee buyers. But what's very important in their role is the storage of this coffee. They must make sure they store the coffee very well. You understand? Because when you don't store the coffee very well, when it's hit by too much sunlight, it will get too much dry, too much demoisturized. Are we together? When water or when the place is humid, it means the coffee will mold. Do you know what something which is molding? Okuumba mu Luganda. You understand? No, like the way you look at me, I don't think you understand what I'm saying. But that's how you behave. Okay, but try to do some motion, like laugh, smile, nod your head, do something so that I know that you understand what I'm saying. If I'm teaching and everybody is silent, I don't know if you understand or no. If you nod your head, you say yes, you say okay, you repeat what I say, it means you're on the same page or you're flowing with me. You understand? It doesn't matter. It doesn't make sense for me to come here just rap like you're watching a hip hop artist. Hey now. No, you need to do some motion so that I know that you really understand what I'm saying. Okay? Leave that bottle alone, please. Don't be a kid. Thank you. So, when coffee is sold to the market, the people who buy the coffee, they are called the roasters. When coffee is bought, it's taken to the roastery. It means in the roastery, they buy coffee when it's green. When it's raw, like this is raw beans, green beans. You understand? These people, they will roast this coffee so that the coffee becomes like this. This is roasted coffee. This is raw coffee. Raw coffee beans. This is roasted coffee. Just like your Habibi. You understand? He buys like this and then he sells like this. You understand? So, what is the number one role of a coffee roaster? Is to make sure they roast the coffee and get and make the flavors in the coffee shine. They must roast well the coffee so that the flavors in the coffee must shine. Tugende Paula, let's go slow. Listen, I come back to the basic. Roastery is the place where coffee is roasted. Roasting is the process which this coffee undergoes. Roaster is the person who roasts the coffee. Are we together on this one? When you buy your coffee, the roaster must roast well the coffee so that he gets out all the juice, all the flavor. They must shine in this coffee. If I give you my food right now and you don't cook it well, I will not taste it. Right? Because you didn't cook it well. So the number one role of these people is to roast this coffee, and everything in this coffee must come out and shine. You understand? Coffee has flavors. Listen to me. Coffee has flavors. When we plant coffee and other plants on the plantation. Let's say this is our plantation A. We plant mango trees, we plant coffee. We plant guavas, we plant coffee. We plant berries, we plant coffee. Since coffee grows on the same plantation where these other plants are, during germination, what happens? What is germination, guys? Thank you. The growth of a seed into a seedling. When the plants are growing, they must get the roots down to get moisture and nutrients from the ground. So when they go down, they tend to connect. So when plants are planted on the same soil or on the same plantation, a certain DNA is shared with these plants on the same plantation. Are we together? This is why when we grow coffee, when you uproot it, it has some certain DNA or gene of the other plants which were on the same plantation. This is how coffee gets its flavors naturally. Or sometimes during fermentation is where we get coffee beans. We put them in a tank of water and we let it be there for 2 to 3 days. Sometimes with some people, some farmers, they cut fresh fruits and they keep it in this water with, you understand? So that when the coffee is removed, this flavor is also in this. You understand? Also, but they don't. When you're roasting coffee, they don't put anything like, oh, now we want vanilla. We put vanilla flavor. No, we don't. Coffee gets the flavors naturally. Are we together? Yes. Coffee gets the flavor naturally. So, the number one role of a coffee roaster is to make sure you roast this coffee and these flavors will shine in these coffee beans. They will come out. You don't burn them to disappear. You burn them so that they can be. You understand? So, when you roast the coffee, you roast it very well. Then you pack it and then you give it to the next person. After packing it very well, you give it to the next person. Who's that person? It's you. It's me. It's somebody at work right now. It's the barista. When the barista receives this coffee, the roaster already told the barista what is inside the coffee, because he writes every detail down. That this, let's say this coffee is from Colombia. They tell you it was naturally processed. Yeah. It comes from the variety of Papo Catura. You understand? What are the notes that I'm going to feel? What what is the flavor that I'm going to feel? There is a nutty flavor, there is brown sugar, there is berries. This coffee has medium acidity and it has a full body. You understand? This information is let out by from the roastery. The person who roasts the coffee will give you this information at hand. So it's me, the barista, to extract this coffee and make sure all this is had in my cup of coffee. You understand? You understand? So it means, what is the number one role of a coffee barista? Is to make sure that I extract the coffee, or I brew the coffee, yeah, and get out all its full potential flavors. Are we together, gentlemen? The number one role of a specialty coffee barista is to make sure we extract coffee or we brew coffee and we get out all its full potential flavors. You understand? It means if I give you these coffee beans and these are the flavors that I expect from my coffee, you must give me this coffee and these flavors must be had in my coffee. If I take a sip, like, I must feel this. This is a good extraction. Are we together, guys? Yeah. So everybody has his own role. The last person here is the customer in this chain of supply. The customer, his role is to take this coffee, appreciate it, and then pay money. The money that he pays is the money that he will pay the barista, is the money that he will pay the roaster, is the money the roaster will use to buy other coffee from the buyer. The buyer, the money he will pay to the farmer will pay to the greeners, he will pay for the process, he will pay for the harvest, and he will buy more plants. This is why it's called a chain, because it goes round and around and around. Are we together? The most important person in this chain of supply is the barista. Yes, the most important person in this chain of supply is it is you, my friend Baba. How? If you make a bad cup of coffee, this coffee is from Colombia, Tolima. You understand? Let's say this is the plantation where this coffee is coming from. If I make it for the customer and the customer doesn't appreciate this coffee, the customer will not order for this coffee again. It means if I manage to sell all the stock out, I will not order for these coffee beans again. Soko tuleke mkatono toita mu kamera yange. I will not order for these coffee beans again. You understand? It means the roaster will not also order for these coffee beans from the buyers again. It means the buyers will not also buy these coffee beans from the farmer again. The farmer will not buy a new shoe. He will not take his kids to school. He will not pay for the bills. He will not do anything because you did a very bad. So the chain starts with you and it stops with, if you give a bad service, it affects everybody in this chain. In this chain. Hey. You understand, guys? Are we together? So this is why it's very, very important for we people who step out to teach you guys, to teach you the right information, to give you the best basics so that you can give a good extraction of coffee always, every time you step up. Because it affects everybody in this chain of supply. Are we together, guys? Good. So, okay. We'll go to this last segment of this this history, and this is what we call the coffee belt. The coffee belt. The coffee belt. So after teaching the coffee belt, here we're going to see the regions of where coffee is grown. I'm going to switch off the live and switch it back on, and then we learn how to make espresso and everything. So what is the coffee belt? This is where we divide the coffee growing regions into small parts. See, coffee is grown in 3 regions across the world. Yeah. Region number 1 is called Africa Arabian region. Africa Arabian region. Region number 2 is called South and Central American region. Region number 3 is called Asian Pacific region. Yeah? This is the Earth and its sphere. This is what we call the North Pole. This is what we call the South. This is the equator. This is the northern hemisphere. This is the southern hemisphere. When coffee grows from the line of equator a little bit further north and then down. These countries up here, they don't grow coffee because of their climate and weather changes. You understand? Mm-hmm. Coffee is grown down. It means all these countries up here, they just consume. You understand? Mm-hmm. So what you need to understand is this coffee region, this coffee belt was digested or dissected simply because the coffee coming from these parts of the world, they are almost similar. They have almost the similar characteristics. Are we together? So when we talk about Africa Arabian region, in the Arabian Gulf, we have countries like Yemen. They grow good coffee. In Africa, we have countries like Ethiopia, Uganda, Kenya, Rwanda, Burundi, Tanzania. You understand? All these countries, they grow coffee. You understand? Yeah. So this is what we call the Africa and the Arabian region. Are we together? Mm-hmm. When we go to countries like South and Central America, we have countries like Brazil, Colombia, Costa Rica, Honduras, Peru, Argentina, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Colombia. All these countries, they grow coffee. You understand? Yes. When we go to Asian Pacific region, now here we look at countries like Vietnam, Indonesia, India, Philippines, Bhutan, Nepal. All these countries, they all grow coffee. Are we together? But what is the key? What is the key of knowing these regions? Is the characteristics of the coffee from these regions. What are the characteristics of coffee from this region is why we study these regions. Most of the coffee coming from the Africa Arabian region, they are characterized by one thing. Number one, they are fruity. They have a fruity taste. You understand? Number two, they are smooth. They have high acidity. Are we together? Yes. They have high acidity and they are sweet. So, listen guys, the more fruity the coffee, the higher they are acidity. Because acids comes from fruits. You understand? Yeah. Berries, apples, pineapples. This is where acids come from. Oranges, lemon, lime. Are we together? Yeah. So the more fruity the coffee, the more acidity. Are we together? Yeah. And the more chocolatey the coffee, the less acidity. All the coffee from South and Central American region, they are characterized by being chocolate. It means if they are chocolate, they have less acidity. They are nutty. And they are spicy. Are we together? When we talk about coffee from the Asian Pacific region, number one, they have earthy taste. Number two, they have heavy body. They have chocolatey taste. It means they have low acidity. You must know these things, guys. Because if you happen to go for an interview, Somebody will tell you, can you please taste that coffee? Yes. When you taste the coffee, what do you feel in this coffee? What you feel is this.
Sweet.
No, what you feel is this. What I'm showing you is what you feel. Because at your level, you cannot taste anything. But at least you know what the coffee will taste like.
Yeah.
It means if somebody gives you coffee to taste, you just have to know where the coffee is coming. If a country is from South and Central American region, you just know the coffee is choco. You don't need to think too much. This is how I passed my first coffee interview. They just gave me coffee to taste. What do you feel? But reading on the grinder, I see the barista wrote the word Ethiopia. I know. It's fruity. It's a little bit sweet. The acidity is a little bit too much. I started to act smart. They thought, oh, this is #1 barista in Africa.
Wow.
But I don't know. What I know is the characteristics of coffee from Ethiopia. You understand? You understand?
Yeah.
Good. Thank you. Oh, my microphone is off. Are you kidding me? Yes. Okay.